We've spoken about the economy, also about geopolitics, pop culture, sports. Let's now talk about workspaces, rather the people in our workspaces. A lot has been said of late about quiet quitters. You know, the people who have lost their mojo and have put down their foot about going the extra mile at work. So we will leave the quiet quitters alone today. Instead, let's focus on the loudest critics of the quiet quitters, or those who are the loudest in the workplace, irrespective of what the topic of discussion is. Let's talk about the so-called loud laborers or loud workers. We all know them. Rather, they ensure we know them and also their work. Who are loud laborers? It's not hard to spot a loud laborer. You might find him or her lecturing co-workers on how to do their work. For the most part, he or she will be citing examples from his or her own life. The conversation may be something like, when I was handling an XYZ project, I got a lot of work done. This is how much I delivered. The conversation may also start with, when I was your age or when I was getting started, this is how hard I was working. Well, what about now, at present? Well, that's where the loud laborers become problematic. Because while they talk and talk and talk, they don't get as much work done. Basically, their mantra is self-promotion over real work. The little work that they do is promoted heavily, both online and offline. By now, you already have a face or two in your mind. Like I said, we all know or work with loud laborers. The question is, how should companies be dealing with them? Should they be promoted over others? Should their work be celebrated more than the others? Well, they could end up becoming the manager's favorites. And it's not hard to imagine why. During team meetings, loud workers strive to project themselves as the bigger contributors. You see, in the age of social media and personal branding, visibility has become the key to success. The work that is seen is the work that is often rewarded. The question is, should it remain that way, or is there a need for a change? I ask this because while self-promoters have been around since the beginning of teamwork, now is the time when workplaces are reinventing themselves. Now is when age-old templates are being reviewed/challenged. So should employers also rethink evaluation processes? Perhaps. Here's reason number one. Several companies today are adopting flexible working. Many employees are working from home. Many employees are promoting their day-to-day work. It is being copied on official mails, broadcast on work WhatsApp groups, and very often these messages are received with a virtual pat on the back or a thumbs up emoji. But where does this leave the other employees and their work? Should it suffer because of the absence of loud self-promotion? With the workforce out of sight, workers who don't get recognized for their contribution are likely to feel isolated, alienated, even demotivated. So the onus falls on the manager to recognize and reward silent workers or workers who are not that loud, to not project a self-promoter as an exemplary worker. And here's reason number two, diversity. Our workspaces are made of different kinds of workers. Some like to blow their trumpet. Some are good at socializing and networking. But there are also some who might be fine workers, but not the most social people out there. Introverts, for example. How often is an introvert recognized and rewarded? Again, if self-promotion is being lauded over real work, it's a problem. And not just for the employees concerned, but the organization overall. A recent study claims that a self-promoter can bring down the performance of his or her entire team. How? Because it affects the mood of the group. Think about it. When a supervisor rates a self-promoter higher than the rest of the group, or promotes him or her above those who actually do most of the work, it is bound to take a toll on the team's morale. So this is actually a lesson in leadership. The question for all team leaders watching this show tonight is this: who do you think you should celebrate? A worker who works hard, or workers who spend a lot of their time convincing you that they are the hardest workers, but don't actually back that up with real work? That said, here's some food for thought. For those on the other side of the table, is it really wise to swim against the tide? It is a fact that today visibility can make a difference. So shouldn't you be making the most of it? While desperate self-promotion is not ideal, visibility to an extent is obviously a good thing. Take ownership for your work. Pitch your ideas loud and clear. Talk about your work on social media. Of course, don't go overboard. Don't be a loud worker, but also don't settle for living in the shadows of one. Think about it. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.